Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
This is Beijing Bound, the countdown to the 2022 Winter Olympic Games. I'm Michael.
I'm John. Paralympics GB will take on some of the lessons learnt from their Team GB counterparts for the Beijing 2022 Winter Paralympic Games. That's according to Dame Katherine Grainger, who's been speaking to us as part of her role as Chair of UK Sport. Paralympics GB have a medal target of between 5 and 9 and are taking 25 athletes in skiing, Nordic skiing and curling, their biggest team since Lillehammer in 1994.
You never know. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, so the Paralympic team are already out there, so they'll be getting used to this. It's a sort of, brave new world of closed loop system and, daily testing and certainly the nice thing is there's a bit of an overlap between Team GB and Paralympics GB being out in the country. And so, the chef de missions will be talking to each other. Some of the athletes will talk to each other. There'll be learnings almost immediately of this is how we did it and this is how it worked for us. But you've still got a team that's not experienced that environment before, and it's hard to know how people will then be able to cope and deliver. They've had, the Paralympic team have had similar challenges to the Olympic team, but I don't think it means. I think we still have really high expectations as the athletes do themselves. We've got some brilliant potential there, and I think there's going to be a lot coming up, and it's a slightly shorter games, but it's still going to be a lot of, as we know, high drama, high stress from a viewer's point of view, but. We had some incredible results 4 years ago in Pyeongchang, and some of the athletes are the same. So they'll be coming back, having at least experienced that big stage moment and wanting to do it again, albeit in a different world we're in right now.
Katherine, you're retired from competitive rowing, but you're now in this other new career as the chair of UK Sport. And I remember you telling me once that being chair of an organisation meant you had to make big decisions. Have you got big decisions to make now, having seen Team GB only win the 2 medals in Beijing?
Yeah, and I think all of us in these sort of leadership roles are faced with big decisions that sort of feel daily, all the time. And I think when you're the chair of an organisation that is publicly funded as well, this is public investment. It comes with an incredible amount of responsibility, and it needs to be evidenced of why the investments are going where. So that's why coming up there'll be an incredible sort of in-depth reviews. Almost every sport will be reviewing anyway. As an athlete, you review your own performance. As a sport, you absolutely go over everything that's happened, not in the last sort of 15 days, but the last 4 years. You go into training camps and you go into equipment, and you go into the size of the team and the selection of the team, and every single element you kind of look into to see, right, where did it really work for us? Where didn't it? Where could we be better? Why have we got this wrong? So sports are going to go through that anyway. But also, at UK Sport, we're doing exactly the same. Let's look at the decisions we made. Let's look at the information we use. Let's look at the, all those relationships we have that ultimately lead to that Olympic and Paralympic moment. And where could we do better? And where, do we need to make this improved? Because when the decisions come, and the big decisions for us will be around summer for the next, so this summer we'll make decisions for the next Winter Games in 4 years' time. And, there's never feels like there's enough money to go around. We've got a lot of incredible potential, but the decisions all come down to that future potential. What is the potential now for Milan Cortina in 2026? And to make those decisions, to sort of make them best you can with the information you have, you just need a lot of information to be coming in. And then we sort of have big, tough decisions around the board table to have. And that's what comes with this role, is that responsibility.
I've heard, obviously, from people like Georgina Harlan, the chef de mission. I spoke to Andy Anson, the CEO at the BOA, and he talked about, obviously, the number of finalists that you had, the number of young athletes coming through. But when you hear people like Matt West and Marcus White in skeleton questioning their equipment, how concerning is that for you? Yeah, and it's something I'm not close to right now. I haven't heard anything more, and we need the teams to come back to the UK to really address those things. Obviously, I was tuning in like everyone, hearing the commentary that was giving the impression that the equipment was making a big difference for those results. I think any of us who've been there and competed ourselves, there's a vast array of factors that will make up any ultimate result, and it's making sure that we're looking at everything. The sport will be doing it first and foremost, but equipment will of course be part of it, but there'll be lots of other factors that they'll be looking at to see what went right or wrong. And that's a sport that skeleton's delivered time and time again since 2002 when it came back into the Olympic Games. So there'll be a sense of, why was this game so different? Why was this game's not delivering as it had in the past? And that's where, equipment absolutely will be part of that review, but it won't be the only thing that'll be looked at. Because you look at someone like Germany in the sliding sports, of course, I think the only one they didn't get a medal in was the monobob, where everyone has to use the same sled. So clearly investment in equipment brings medals. Yeah, and I was discussing with Amy Fuller this morning, and one of our snowboarders, our former snowboarder now, and every sport is quite different. Some sports really do rely more on sort of technical equipment than other sports, and traditionally the skeleton, the luge, and the bobsleigh are ones that are quite technical specifications around the equipment. So that's why it becomes a big part of the review, because, like we said, we've had huge success in the past, not so much this year, but great talent within that program. Great individual athletes. So there will be a look at, okay, could that have been done differently? Is this time to press a panic button? Is this just a blip, or do we not know that yet? I certainly do not have the hand hovering above the panic button. I think everyone, again, you do this as an athlete, you have to be incredibly honest with yourself. We have to sit back and say, well, it's not what we expected, and it felt like, as a team, we didn't necessarily bring back the successes that we might have hoped for. And those hopes and those predictions were built on a lot of information over the last 4 years of how people have performed. So there are moments where you sit and think, okay, well, we're very, very used to now seeing Team GB and Paralympics GB just delivering medal after medal and huge success and almost building games after games after games. And this is the first time in quite a while we've thought, oh, this one hasn't just followed that natural pathway. But I think, good grief, I as much as anyone would have wanted to see every single athlete reach their absolutely best potential out there, but that wasn't the case. But what it does give you is an incredible opportunity. It's a classic thing. I learned my biggest lessons when I had disappointments in my career, and whether you're an individual athlete or whether you're overseeing a team like this, that holds true. So when we do have games like this, which are maybe collectively, arguably some athletes will be coming back very disappointed. Well, then it's more, what do we do now? Rather than, and panic is not the answer. Now it's the kind of, okay, well, now we bring out, how do you react in any kind of very challenging situation? Well, you have to then look at everything that's happened, be really honest about where it's been right, and be really honest about where it's been wrong, and really honest about what you can then change. And to me, is someone looking to the future and really excited about winter sports in our future, I think it does give us brilliant opportunities. I think we have potential there. We have success already. We have some incredible young new athletes in sports we haven't been able to sort of invest in and support and see before on the global stage. And that all these different elements, I think, are really positive. And we just need to make sure the lead up to the next 4 years, we come out, better, stronger, higher, faster, the usual classic Olympic things when it comes to Milan Cortina, because I really think this is a team that can deliver on the international stage. We don't have the breadth, we don't have the depth of some other big winter nations. So we also have to be realistic about what's possible. We don't have
the enormous mountains sitting in our backyard in this country. But we do have amazing snow domes that have been invested into. We do have amazing people that can do brilliant things, on curling rinks in this country. So there's a lot of things that I think we can shift slightly in our decision making, our strategies, but also build on what's happened and what's to come.
So just finally then from me, obviously GB Snow Sport have this very public stated ambition, top 5 snow nation by 2030. Was COVID an issue this time around? Because clearly, obviously, the curlers could get back into their rink in Stirling fairly quickly after that first lockdown. But for our snow and ski and snowboard athletes, that wasn't necessarily the proposition for them. Is that a reason, perhaps?
I think it's certainly one of the reasons. We discussed this leading up to the Tokyo Olympics last summer. And the same with the Paralympic team as well. They'd all faced very similar challenges. But I think when you move it to the winter sports, suddenly, you can't put something in your back garden and make it work. You can't do something in your street and make it work. You generally have to be abroad on the big slopes if you're in those sports. And that's very hard to recreate in any way in this country. And when there's a pandemic and there's limited travel, there's limited competition, I think it has created some real challenges. And we've also got, things like Brexit has played a part in how long people can stay abroad. So there's lots of different factors coming in that some were predictable and some weren't. And I think, again, it's that there's no one element that explains sort of the collective performances across ski and snowboard. There's lots of different bits that will be looked at out. So some big reasons like that, but also you've got some of our best athletes on the slopes. It's tiny, tiny margins. It's one split decision, hurtling down a mountain that can transform whether you come 27th or come first or second. So, again, the sort of drama and the jeopardy and the unpredictable thing that makes all our winter sports so compelling to watch also makes them really sort of unpredictable to sort of plan for and have expectations. So that's the same for every country. We accept that. So we just need to see how we can be doing this better.
There's 9 days of sport to look forward to. Good luck to all at Paralympics GB.
And download our weekly Anything But Footy podcast for all the latest Olympic and Paralympic news, interviews and conversations. We're on Apple and Google Podcasts. Just search Anything But Footy.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.